This video is not sponsored and has no adverts.
Hello and thanks for joining me for some more landscape photography. As you can see, I'm kitted out for a mountain hike. Today I'm down in the little valley of Cwmystradllyn in the Eryri range of mountains in northern Snowdonia, and my target is to climb to the summit of Moel Hebog. Now, a lot of people approach Moel Hebog from the Beddgelert side, the little village nestled down in the valley by Treforys. But if you come at it from that side, well, it's like that. It's a serious climb, and I can't be asked with that sort of thing. Plus the fact it's much quieter over this side of the mountain. So I'm going to be heading up the relatively gentle slope up to about 780 metres. Now, I don't know what the photography is going to be like today, despite having all my clobber with me. It's a beautiful early September Saturday morning, but there are no clouds at all at the moment. I'm hoping that some will bubble up later on to give me some interest, but really just to have a nice hike out in the hills after the summer trippers have left, that'll do me. I've been stopping along the way quite a bit. I'm in no hurry today. I'm travelling light though. I've just got my 14-150 f4 to 5.6, and this really is a fabulous do-it-all lens, absolutely perfect for these hikes, because with a focal range of full frame equivalent of 28 to 300, it's really useful in the hills, but it weighs almost nothing. That said, the optical performance is absolutely outstanding, and it's by no means a kit lens. And let me tell you a little bit about this hike that I'm doing today. It's only about 2 miles as the crow flies, but that said, I'm taking my time over it. I've got all day, which is quite unusual for me. I'm currently about a third of the way up, and I'm at the village of Treforys. Now, Treforys was a village which was built around about 1885 for the quarry at the head of the valley. It only lasted for about 20 years before it was completely abandoned because they ran out of high quality slate, which was a bit of a pity for the quarry owner, because they'd invested heavily in the superb cutting mill at Cwmystradllyn. It's a very well-known local landmark. Plenty of photographers have been here, and I took a shot of it as I was driving up this morning. Now, of course, there is some potential around here for my RPS project shooting derelict Snowdonia buildings. Of course, on a day like this with bright sunlight, it doesn't really tell the story of how tough a life it must have been up here. I mean, it's a long walk over to the quarry where the men would have been slaving away for 12 hours a day. And of course, when this place was built, there was no motor transport. So everything came up by horse and cart. To get from A to B, you walked an awful lot. So I really do think that this is the sort of place that I'll use for my project when we get into some more atmospheric conditions later in the year, perhaps. The light's really nice this morning. It's about 10:30, I think, something like that. Quite a bit of cloud has bubbled up, so where the sun is just in the fringes of a cloud, you get that softbox effect, but you still get light and shade. I'm looking right across to Port Meirion, I think, headland down towards Harlech and Cardigan Bay. So I've got the street leading down the lake, the flank of the hill in front of me, and then out to the sea, and sort of cloud sitting at about 1,500 metres, something like that. So quite a nice place to have a pit stop, all told. Now, I'm not using a graduated filter today, despite the dynamic range. The reason for that is, of course, the camera's coming off the clip quite regularly as I'm walking for filming. Nevertheless, I'm shooting bracketed, and I've got a 5 exposure bracket set up at 2/3 stops. That gives me plenty to work with in post. It was a really interesting walk up onto the summit. About halfway up, it was completely clagged and it started raining, and I thought, that's going to be interesting. But as I got towards the top, the clouds have broken and it's just perfect conditions now. So having started out with solid blue skies, then thought I wouldn't even be able to see my hand in front of my face up here. Now I've got beautiful dappled light caressing Cwmystradllyn and across to Snowdon. So I've got 3 images in mind while I'm up here. One is to shoot straight down the valley over Llyndinas to Moel Hebog. I don't think I'm going to get any light down there. I haven't seen any since I've been up here. I have set up an image and then abandoned it to shoot other stuff, but hopefully I'll get something of that. The other one is one sort of across this way towards Snowdon, where there's been some lovely light on Eryri, and you can just pick out the ridge as it runs up to Snowdon summit. And then a third one, got to be done from up here, of course, the Nantler Ridge. And usually when I'm on the Nantler Ridge, I'm shooting in this direction, shooting this summit. So it makes a change to be looking back the other way. Quite a hard walk up, I must say. It's of course I haven't been up here during the summer, so perhaps I'm slightly unfit. Hopefully that'll resolve itself over the next few months, because I plan to be out and about quite a bit more. But yeah, I'm going to probably spend an hour or so up here. If I find anything interesting, if the light plays ball, I'll show you what I'm up to. With these conditions I'm experiencing at the moment, it's really quite bizarre. I've been in really full sun ever since I got up here. It's absolutely baking, the midges are out, and it's like the middle of summer, but every other peak around the park is really gloomy. Deep shadows, ragged clouds, and it's kind of strange because in this particular location I'm higher than quite a few of the other peaks, where they're clagged in and we're not here. So not really sure what I'm going to do with it for photography purposes. I've got a shot lined up here where I've got some foreground of the ridge running down towards Ryddi, and I'm looking across to Snowdon where there's some quite interesting broken clouds and a really low dark cloud base just above summit height. And then looking across to the Nantler, again, that's got a bit of light on it, so I might be able to do something with that. I waited ages for some light down in the valley across Llyndinas to Moel Hebog, but yeah, no joy at the moment, so just wait it out, see what happens. Interestingly, I've had debates with people about taking a tripod up a mountain, and people have said, oh well, that's completely pointless because you just point your camera handheld at wherever the light does. To some degree that's true, but it's also fair to say that when you sort out your composition, and of course the tripod slows you down, but the main thing that's handy to have is the ability to wait for the light. So I've got my composition set up, I can see those clouds changing. In fact, I'm going to just grab another shot of that because they're making some really interesting shapes. Yeah, very interesting conditions. It's as if I've picked the only summit in the park that's having a nice afternoon. So we'll see what else happens, but some of these clouds are really interesting. Well, now I've been up here for a couple of hours and it's been very changeable. The first hour or so was all about light. There was dappled sunlight just picking out ridges across the valley there, all the way up to Moel Hebog and across Snowdon and even the Gliders. You'll see them quite well from here. And at one point, this mountain top was like a midsummer's day. I was absolutely sweltering, bright sunlight, and no light anywhere else in the park. Very strange conditions. So the first hour or so was all about the light, but then the second hour is all about these fabulous clouds rolling in. The atmosphere of the place has really changed. That's what I love about these mountain tops. Within the space of 60 minutes, it's gone from a really nice summer's day to a really moody autumn day. So the second batch of images that I think might be worth sharing with you are very much about the drama in the sky. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there for this one. It's time for me to head off. Thank you ever so much for joining me. I really hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. And if you have, why not subscribe and join me next time? Cheers.